Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. Itaewon Class is a 2020 Korean drama, which originally was a webtoon written and illustrated by writer-artist Kwang Jin. He also adapted the screenplay. Yes. This is the first Korean drama ever produced by the distribution company Showbox. Showbox is actually a film production and distribution company. So this is their first attempt at a television show, and it was massively successful. Good for them. Very similar to Lotte Entertainment and CJ Entertainment, Showbox comes from a food manufacturing company called Orion, or you might pronounce it as Orion, but Orion is how it's pronounced in Korean. And Orion is specifically famous for producing some of Korea's favorite snacks. And you might all recognize this. You know that thing, choco pie? I mean, I see choco pie even in like American supermarkets. It's everywhere. So Orion is famous for choco pie. And Orion developed Showbox in order to get involved in the media business, similar to Lotte and CJ. I'm very glad to see Showbox getting involved in Korean dramas because they're known for distributing some really well-known Korean movies like The Chaser, The Host, and there's several other ones, but The Chaser and The Host are like my favorite films that they distributed, so I'm just going to name those two. I was walking around Los Angeles, Koreatown yesterday being March 25th, 2021. And while walking around K-Town, I saw this Korean bar called Honey Night or Gulbam. It was on West 8th Street. And it reminded me of Danbam in Itaewon Class. They have the same idea. I've never been to this bar, but I think it might be worth checking out just for fun, right? In general, if you can, all my listeners, please support Asian American businesses right now. If you're not in America, just support your local Asian business, whatever it might be. If it's food, it's most likely going to be food. I mean, come on, I know all of you eat Asian food. It's like the best. How are you going to avoid it? So try and support those businesses right now because the Asian American community is suffering. The Asian community around the globe, they are also suffering. So please help them out. Okay, back to Itaewon Class though. I'm not going to lie. This wasn't my favorite show. I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite show, but I appreciated elements of the story, okay? I liked that it made attempts at including a transgender narrative and a Black Korean narrative. Both of these are extremely marginalized in South Korean television, so there are some good efforts here. But we have to realize that when it came to Tony's story, the Black Korean, okay, we didn't really get a lot from him. All right. He didn't have that many lines, especially talking about his own plight. Like, we didn't really get it. Instead, when it came to Tony's story, there were a lot of characters that were speaking for him or on his behalf, right? Especially like Hiroi. Hiroi kept talking about Tony as if he knew, but he doesn't know. Okay. That shit really needs to stop. All right. I don't want South Korean TV writers who are self-proclaimed woke liberals to be writing for anybody else's experience other than the Korean experience. If writers care, then they need to integrate those real voices through research, through consultation, and through dedication and respect, all right? And I could tell that there's a big hole here. The research, consultation, dedication, and respect were not there. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it wasn't there. It's a noble attempt, but those four important things, they were not there. So I think the Black Korean character's narrative, Tony's narrative, needed more work. And it was a very shallow attempt at being racially inclusive. Also, the emphasis on anti-Black discrimination in Korea really sweeps aside some huge issues of common discrimination that happens to many migrants living in South Korea, okay? There are migrant workers from South and Southeast Asia, as well as the Middle East, okay? But none of their stories ever get integrated into Korean TV shows. And that's insanity to me. Going straight to correcting anti-Black discrimination in Korea is unfortunately a way for Korean entertainment to gesture towards American mainstream entertainment audiences. All right. This is a difficult pill to swallow, but that is what's happening. In this way, US cultural imperialism is peeking its little head right here. All right. There's a very urgent need to address anti-migrant issues in South Korea, but the entertainment industry largely ignores South Korea's problems with colorism, not giving enough rights to migrant laborers in South Korea, being generally discriminatory against South and Southeast Asian men and women, as well as Arabs. You know, it's very anti-Arab in South Korea too. So the fact that these kinds of narratives are entirely erased in Korean television is something that we really need to be aware of. Just because these stories are not shown on TV does not mean that these realities do not exist in South Korea. Let's remember this, okay? I would read, if I were you, I would read Shin Kyung Lee's book, Service Economies. I would also read Haeyeon Chu's book called Decentering Citizenship. All right, you'll learn a lot about South Korea's migrant labor policies and issues. Itaewon class was slightly better at handling the trans right issues, but again, while there are some trans people in Korea, a lot of them feel misunderstood and unsafe. Okay, just recently we lost a trans soldier in South Korea. All right. I mean, she was expelled from her service, even though she was a dedicated sergeant in the army. And they said that, you know, the fact that she went and decided to become a trans woman, it shows that she's not mentally sound. That's how they framed it, and that is completely and utterly unacceptable. That's discrimination. All right, and that is not being supportive of, you know, the nation's citizens and their dedicated you know, soldiers. That's fucked up. So shame on the motherland. Okay. I also think that the actress that they hired to play this trans woman was also slightly dicey because, you know, she's not a trans actress, and there are trans actors in Korea. What I appreciate about Ma Hyunhee's character is that in the end, there is a promise of love with Choi Seung-kwon, right? I found that this love narrative, this love ending was good. I thought that was a positive sort of progressive choice. I wish, though, that this had come up a bit earlier because this love kind of requited love thing came out in the end. I kind of wanted to see their love sort of blossom like throughout the show regularly, but there was a lot of hesitation, you know? So I guess my point is trans citizens deserve to see their love stories on the small screen and, you know, in webtoons. So give them more than just an ending is my point. At the very least, give them requited love and just show us what that love is about, what it means, you know. Normalize it, integrate it, be inclusive. I liked how many TikTok videos there were around the show. I could tell how popular Itaewon class was at the time just based on the amount of videos I saw related to Itaewon class, and it definitely made waves here in North America. I think it's a show that tried out some new things, and some were more successful than others, but overall the gesture is bold and innovative, and to me that counts. Never forget that creativity counts as a form of resistance and political activism, okay? Creativity counts as a peaceful form of evolution and change for all of humanity. So don't forget that. All of your creativity, whatever it may be, it counts as a contribution. And they are very important. So celebrate your own creativity. Celebrate somebody else's creativity. That's what it's about. Creativity is what it's about, okay? Today, I'm going to talk to a good friend of mine. She's a very funny comedian. Her name is Ai Yoshihara. Ai is a Japanese-American comedian and actress out here in Los Angeles. She is probably the most recognized for her role on the Gus Van Sant film, Sea of Trees. She had this lovely, well, it was a very intense scene. It was a great scene with Matthew McConaughey. I love I because when I was wrapping up my world tour in 2018 and trying to sink back into the LA groove, I was at this mic over in Burbank at this club and I sat for like 3 hours. Like it was past midnight. I was exhausted. And just prior to getting there, like there was a mic that I'd signed up for, but the host fucked up and like I never got called. So it was just like a waste of gas, waste of time. I was already like at a very I had very low morale already. And then, yeah, like, it was like past midnight. I never got called. I sat through 3 hours of really horrible, shitty comedians talking about who gives a fuck. But like as I was leaving, right, like I felt really sad and angry and tired. I had like hot tears, like, coming out. And I pulled me aside and she asked me for my name. And she told me to come back next Saturday because she'll be hosting that mic and that she will let me go up because she saw me sitting there waiting for 3 hours. And, I'll never forget this, but she said to me, she was like, we Asian women have to look out for one another. And, immediately she felt like an older sister to me, like a friend to me. And I'll never forget this moment. It will always stay with me. So take that as a good example of generosity and care. Yeah, let's talk to the very wonderful, very funny Ai Yoshihara. Thanks for doing this last minute.
Yeah, it's okay. What happened?
The person that I was supposed to interview, his name is and he's a professor at
Mm-hmm.
and I had asked him to be an interviewee like back in December. And he was being like a little like weird about it. He was like asking me like specific questions and like what exactly do you want me to talk about? And he was being like very like suspicious, and I just gave him like a deep, like a long ass explanation as to what my podcast is about and that it's very chill, that it's just a conversation, and and like I like kind of like kissed his ass a little bit because like academics are insecure. So I was just like, oh, like I cite your work in my work, and that he's like, oh, I'm so honored to hear that. Like, what exactly did you cite from my work? I want to know. And I was like, just look up my article later. You could read it. But anyway, do you want to do it or not? And he was like, yeah, I would love to do it. So like we set the date for today at 4 p.m. I sent him the instructions. Yeah, like 35 minutes ago it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I sent him the instructions like back in December, like 2 months ago, and like I was waiting for 20 minutes and nothing, he wouldn't appear. So I emailed him. I was like, hey, I'm here in the studio now. I'm resending the link and instructions in case you haven't gotten it. And he wrote back to me like later. He was like, oh, if you had instructions like this for a program that I'm not familiar with, you should have told me beforehand. And I don't think today's going to work. And I was just like, what? Like, that is so fucking rude, Like,
yeah. I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, huh?
Like, what more do I have to do? And this is honest, it's my fault because I need to learn that when a person is being difficult, I have to let them go like the moment they're being difficult. Like let it go. But I was like insisting on making it work, And it's just like, nope, like let that one go. It's not gonna work, let it go. He's a fucking difficult person. Let it go.
Yeah.
So I was just like, who should I reach out to? I was like, maybe I is free, so I called you, and thankfully you were free. So,
yeah,
thank you for being free today.
I have no job. I'm ready to go.
But are you like? Have you been auditioning for like roles and stuff? Like any kind of work?
I got a new agency. I signed with a new agency like end of last year, and they got me a few like self-tape auditions. Yeah. But I haven't booked anything. So.
Oh, okay. So you're just doing self-tape auditions, doing comedy shows.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Like, how do you spend your day? I'm curious. Like,
I'm trying to seriously. Last 2 weeks, I finally start like committing to do my routines. Like okay. So before like the end of last year, oh my god, I had a huge breakdown. I cried like, oh my god, hours, and then like I feel like I'm like losing my mind. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm not supposed to curse.
No, you can curse.
I'm not. Okay.
Curse away.
I'm not doing. I'm not sure what am I doing in my life.
Yeah.
Then I just decided to just set the routines every day, like
Good.
waking up do writing like
Yeah.
15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And because I'm a comedian, so I have to always feel like I have to write jokes, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I don't get any inspiration because I'm just stuck in home, you know what I
Of
mean? So
course.
like but just to journaling for 15 minutes every day.
Mm.
And I have like a little exercise machine is the is this make steps. So I yeah, like
Uh-huh.
old people.
Uh-huh.
How many steps today? So I do that for too many minutes, and also when I'm doing that, I listening to those podcasts for um, like self improvement, like self
Ah.
growth kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
signed up for a yeah, and also I am also my English is second language, so
Uh-huh.
I read out loud every day
Nice.
for 30 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my three big routines every day. So
Yeah. That
yeah,
sounds wonderful. Well, what do you think triggered the breakdown?
I feel like I think it's anxiety,
Um,
and not meeting people,
mm-hmm.
and also social media is just
Ugh.
seems like people are doing something. They keep posting, and also I was posting a lot of videos and all that stuff. So people think I'm doing something, but I am not doing anything. I'm just doing TikTok videos.
That's a lot of work
And
though.
it's a lot of work, and also I got burned out.
Ah,
And yeah, and in TikTok is I don't know how it works, but sometimes they don't even push my content.
right,
So I got so discouraged for a
right.
while. And then when I looked back, and then like, oh, my comedian friends are doing shows. They might have
Mm,
planned for, they're ready, trying to be ready when
mm-hmm.
public's open. So like
Mm-hmm.
all the anxiety, and you know also when public's open, I have to go back to my day job. you know
Right.
then um I yeah, so that was my anxiety. But yeah,
It all
I'm
came crashing
learning.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think that's normal.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's very normal. In fact,
Mhm.
it's kind of healthy to have that kind of moment because I think it was like your body just telling you like, okay, like it's getting wacky.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. I and I think social media right now is both, especially right now, is both a blessing and a curse because we have
Mhm.
social media, we have an outlet and we have a way to see what people are doing, but the problem with that is like we start comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also numbers,
Yes.
how many views I got and how many likes I got. It's just that's a psychologically affects, mess up your here up here. So
I think so
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really normal. And
Mhm.
um yeah, that's I think everybody's kind of going through that at the moment. But I think having that routine is
Mhm.
definitely a good thing. Like, I think all therapists say they're always like, for mental health, you have to have a routine,
Mhm.
like have some kind of morning routine. Like, a lot of artists, they have the morning pages, where they like kind of
Yeah.
what you're doing, just free writing
Mm.
for a few minutes and just like stretching, like
Yeah.
some people call it yoga, I just call it stretching. you know
Yeah.
um I've been using the meditation apps since
Mm.
the fall of last year, and that's been
Mhm.
helpful, just kind of sitting with myself and
Mhm.
before, like, I didn't understand what that was. Like, I'm still learning what meditation is, but like I'm
Mhm.
realizing that what meditation is just literally me giving me some attention. And
Mm.
like that's what journaling is also. It's like you're giving yourself some attention. And
Mhm.
like I don't know, like I've been like getting back into Buddhism lately,
Mm.
and there's this Buddhist monk that I follow, and he was basically like all of us have like an inner child that cries out for our attention, and
Mhm.
we neglect that child. And I was thinking like, like the I was probably the most unhealthy um summer of 2020.
Mhm.
Like I was watching like 5 movies straight. Like I would
Mm.
wake up and I would start watching 5 movies, you know? And I would like order a whole pizza and like try to eat that whole
Mhm.
thing alone, and like that was like my routine. That was my
Yeah.
routine for a while. And I got like super fat, like because I was losing weight. I was losing weight all spring because I had
Mhm.
this routine. Like I would go for walks every morning and I would like
Mhm.
journal every day. I was doing my comedy writing every day. And yeah, like the burnout happened for me too. And I started
Yeah.
just like binge watching movies, binge eating, getting like I was drinking a lot. I was getting super fat. And then like recently I was just like telling my therapist. Oh, and that's the other thing. Like I have a therapist to talk to every
Good.
week. So
Mhm.
I was just telling her, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I hate being drunk alone, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
I hate getting high by myself. Like I realize that like that's what I look forward to at night. Like I want to get high, and then I would have a drink, and then I would just like
Mhm.
zone out watching some shitty TV show or movie.
Yeah.
And she was just like, ask yourself if you would do that to you as a 5-year-old. Would you force 5-year-old Grace to watch 5 movies straight? Would you force
Mm.
5-year-old Grace to just drink and have like edibles and eat a whole pizza to 5-year-old Grace? Like, would you do that to her? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I guess not, probably. And then
Mhm.
she said, when you're doing that, like when you're watching a bunch of movies and when you're just like getting drunk and getting high and just binge eating,
Mhm.
you're trying to get away from yourself. She was like,
Oh.
you're abandoning your inner
Mhm.
child. You're abandoning yourself. And I started crying. I started getting emotional because I was just like, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that I am capable of my own abandonment.
Mhm.
Like I didn't realize that we are all capable of self-neglect.
Mhm.
That's like the biggest thing I complain about my parents is like, oh, they were negligent. They were, they abandoned me. But
Mhm.
I was doing that to myself, and I didn't realize that that's me doing that by getting drunk, getting high, by binge
Mhm.
watching, a bunch of content, but that's what that is.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "Oh my God, that is such a big realization."
Mhm.
And so, what meditation does is it forces you to pay attention to yourself, to be present, to be awakened at all times.
Yeah.
And that is you being there for yourself, right? And I was just like, oh, that is so enlightening. Like that is so profound, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I
like
love
I like what you're
meditation
doing.
too. Yeah.
I like
I
I like what you're
meditate
doing.
every day, an hour to hour and a half
That's a
before I do
lot. You're
anything else.
intense. Well, you're an
Yeah, it's
actress, so
yeah, I'm always into, I'm like almost extreme.
yeah. Wow, an hour to an hour. That is so
Yeah,
intense.
yeah, I do. It's without it, it's hard. It's just I have to for it just it's so weird. It was so hard for me to just concentrate, to just be in the moment and just being present. But now I love it. It's just, and I started because I couldn't focus. I always hear the noise, and I just,
Yes.
you know. But I started focusing on just breathing, and I just heard scientifically, just deep breathing, this
Yeah.
send the oxygen to your stomach. No,
Uh-huh.
you breathe from the stomach, right?
Uh-huh.
that will give you uh, a lot of health benefit just doing that.
Mm.
And because I couldn't get up days, I couldn't in the morning. It took me like 2 hours to get up from the bed. So like
Oh.
doing 2 hours meditation is just still I was in bed. But it's like when I finish meditation and enough oxygen in my body and my head and body. So when I get up bed, I feel great,
Yeah.
So it's also mentally but also physically helping me too. So
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
wow. That's
yeah.
interesting. I mean, you live with your boyfriend right now, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, where do you find, like, do you just go into a room for an hour, hour and a half, and you just shut yourself away for the meditation
Yeah,
practice?
he wakes
Oh.
up earlier than me, so
Uh-huh.
he get out and he goes to the living room, and I
Ah.
stay in my bed and it just do
Ah.
meditation. So
That
yeah,
sounds nice.
yeah,
How do you like living with your boyfriend?
great. We get along really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old, so we don't waste time. So okay, and like we start dating, we didn't play any games, you know. Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right. No, let's be be exclusive. All right, sounds good. Do you want kids? No. Great, perfect.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you like this was like new love. Like I remember it
Mm-hmm.
was like last year, not it was almost 2 years ago. It was like 2019 fall, wasn't it?
I met him.
Yeah.
I met him last year.
Oh, I thought you met him
We
in 2019.
2019, end of 2019.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. I
yeah. We
remember.
just had a 1 year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I remember it was like fall 2019 and you were like talking about him on
Mm-hmm.
stage and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I found love," you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, that's so great." And yeah, like it's actually very rare for people to be moving in together during the pandemic, but
I
you're
know.
like one of the rare
Pandemic.
couples who
Yeah,
have
pandemic helped us to rush because we couldn't see each other often. Like, you know what? Let's just move in.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and you wanted to find your own place anyhow, right?
yeah,
Like so that's
yeah,
great. Worked
yeah.
out.
Worked out really well. I kind of like pushed him, and trapped him. You want to do this one? Hey, let's do this.
Where did you meet him?
I met him at the open mic.
Ah, is he also a comic?
No, he does a speech, motivational speech, or
Uh-huh.
he do speech, but he always wanted to do stand up too. So
Uh
that was his third time doing open mic, and that was the last time, thank God. So
Okay.
yeah, just staying motivational speaker, isn't it? Comedy, leave it up to me. Leave it up to me.
Ah, that's so funny. Oh, that's sweet. I like that.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
like that. He seems like a
yeah.
good
So,
guy. Like sometimes I see him like helping you out with your videos. Like he's
oh
on the other
yeah,
side, like feeding you the
yeah,
lines. Yeah,
yeah,
that's so
totally.
sweet.
Yeah, most of the video he just checks. I get approval from him, and then
I love that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I mean, you've been in Los Angeles for a long time, though.
yeah. Almost like 2006,
Wow,
since the
long
2000,
time.
2006. Yeah,
Yeah, 15
so
years.
15 years. Yeah,
And like, you just as soon as you got here, you were just like act. You're just like pursuing acting. Like that's what you were gonna do.
that was my main thing because I was in Vegas, and my acting teacher in Vegas, he told me like if you want to stay in Vegas and do entertainment business, you have to be magician or stripper. So okay. I can. I'm not even flexible to be in a magic box, and I can be in a can't even be an assistant, and also
Yeah.
I don't have that body to
Uh-huh.
be a stripper. So
Uh-huh.
okay, I have my plan B, acting. So move to LA.
That's so funny. Oh God. Yeah, it's hilarious that like you were forced to become an actress in Los Angeles because you didn't want to be a magician or a
Yeah,
stripper.
yeah. So he said, "Go to LA." I said, "Okay, move to LA." Sure. So I moved to
Oh,
LA.
that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. So you lived in Vegas for a little while?
Yeah, I went to school. I went to UNLV, University
Oh
of
my gosh.
Nevada, Las Vegas. Yeah.
What was it like living in Vegas?
Back then, it's like almost, how many years ago? Almost like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I was there, and like, it's so different now because I've never seen so many slutty girls on campus before. I was just girls are wearing like skimpy, clothes on
Uh-huh.
campus. Like before that I was in Nevada, but Reno, Nevada, and
Yeah.
before that I was in Texas. I went
Yeah.
to Christian school,
Yeah.
and it's a super strict Christian school, and everybody's conservative.
Yeah.
To
Uh-huh.
Vegas, and
Yeah.
everybody's like half naked. It's like holy shit. I was like,
They were naked for Jesus.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. I see. But the girls are like, oh my God, are you going to work after this? After class, stripping? I don't know. I was like, wow.
Oh, what did you study in Vegas?
I studied hotel management.
Oh, right, hospitality.
Yeah, because that's the only major that I could get permit, working permit of the campus. Because
Really?
usually international students are not allowed to work off campus because we have to have a certain amount of money, or
Oh,
we have to be financially stable to go to American school.
oh,
Yeah, I have to have. So like when I came to America, like my dad borrowed $10,000 and it's put in my account,
yeah.
and then I got approved for school. Hey, I have money in my account, and the university said okay. And then as soon as I got the approval and got into school, I paid him back, and he returned the money.
Uh, that is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so if you don't have enough money in your bank, they literally don't let you come to that school.
Mm-mm.
Oh my
Back
God.
then, yeah, that
The
time, yeah,
classism. It's like very literal classism.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm
So,
shocked.
so international students, we were not allowed to work outside the campus because, like, inside on campus, maybe library or cafeteria, and
Uh-huh.
like minimum wage, super or I don't know, yeah, super low wages.
Yeah.
That's the only jobs we get.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to help my parents pay their tuition,
Uh-huh.
so they can cover everything. So
Right.
yeah, that I got the work. I needed to get working permit, but the
Uh-huh.
hotel management requires 1,000 hours work experience to graduate.
Uh-huh.
So we were able to get working permit outside campus.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah,
God. The
yeah.
system is
So
so rigged against everybody. I mean,
mm-hmm.
it is so rigged. That is like, oh, I'm so shocked right now. That's why
Yeah.
like so many international students at UCLA, they drive like the nicest cars
Oh,
because only the rich, like the richest kids
can go. Yeah.
can go to these schools.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yep.
And they
Yeah.
fund a big part of UCLA. Like,
Really.
yeah, international students. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
kidding
Yeah.
me?
Because also out of state fee.
Out of state fee. Yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money.
Is it out of the state fee is like ridiculous. Back then, $4,000 each semester.
Uh-huh.
So now I don't know how much. It's
It's a lot
crazy.
more.
A
It's
lot
like
more.
4 times more. Like when I was actually out of state student because my address was New York. So I was an out of
Mm-hmm.
state student, not a California based student. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my master's degree cost like 4 times more than it would have cost if I was just an in-state student.
Oh wow. You should wait 1 year to be
Yeah.
resident.
I couldn't wait. I hated my job so much
Um
that I wanted to leave so badly. But yeah, there are some things. There's some things I would have done differently looking back now. But Jesus, that's horrible.
but the crazy thing is international students out of state fee we have to pay out of the state fee whole year whole 4 years
The whole
and
time.
whole time until you graduate. Is
Oh
1 year residency doesn't count for international students.
my God.
You know,
So then when did you become a citizen?
I think maybe 6 7 years ago.
Okay. Oh, not
Who
too
was
long ago
president?
then.
Yeah, I think Obama was
Yeah.
yeah, president.
Oh.
Yeah,
And it was through marriage or
I got yeah marriage, and I got a green card through marriage, and then but we got divorced, so I have to wait another 5 years to apply for a citizenship.
yeah. Oh my
So
God.
yeah,
Wow.
so I waited. Then yeah, and I heard the rumor that green card is not enough. You know, you might get deported
Oh.
even though you have a green card. That
Uh-huh.
was a rumor a
Uh-huh.
little bit. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna get citizenship.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a good call. There are more benefits, I suppose.
but I was stupid though. I shouldn't do that
Why?
because if I the medical here is so expensive. So if I had a Japanese citizenship and I could get better, cheap, you know, medical if I had something major
Hmm.
thing, yeah. So like all my Japanese friends are like when they get sick, they go back to Japan
Right.
and they get surgery or get treated like almost
Mm-hmm.
nothing
Mm-hmm.
and then come back. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, my friend, I have a friend, his name is Yusuke Aoki,
Mm-hmm.
and he also said he did not get American citizenship because Japanese passport is better. And I was like, okay. And he lived in the States for a long time, like over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Germany now. He and
Oh
his
wow.
wife. Yeah, they live in Munich.
Wow.
He sells matcha in Munich.
Matcha is his business.
Yeah, this is business. He makes good money for as long as I've known
Really?
him. I met him in like 2009. I met him
Mm-hmm.
in Seoul in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left Korea in 2010, and then I met him again
Mm-hmm.
in 2019. So I met
Oh
him
wow.
10 years later in Berlin.
Wow.
Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
when you took a trip?
Yeah, when I was in Germany, yeah. We met
Nice.
in Berlin. He was like, "I'm in Munich." I was like, "You should come to Berlin and see a show." So he came to a comedy show in Berlin and
Nice.
we like talked all night and it was like crazy. I was like, "Man, this is wild that like I'm seeing you after 10 years, you know?" Like when I saw him coming, I couldn't recognize him. He was like looking at me and I was like, "Who's that guy?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's Yusuke." I was like, "Oh my God." It was so like crazy to see. It's like time travel, you know? Like you haven't seen your friend in 10
Wow.
years and then
Yeah.
they're suddenly there. Yeah, it was special. Yeah, he sells matcha.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I admire people who can live so many different countries. Like if
Mm,
you move to somewhere, you have to learn a lot about the place,
mm-hmm,
country, or
mm-hmm,
culture, language.
mm-hmm.
Like I think he's like so he was in United States and he was in Korea and he was in
Yep.
Berlin.
He
I
was in
mean
Canada for a bit. I think he
Wow.
was in France as well. Yeah,
Wow.
he's one of those people. He can go anywhere in the world and he'll just
Mhm.
make business work. Yeah. He's
Mm.
like one of those people. He's just really good with money. You're good with money too, aren't you?
Yeah, because I don't make that much money, but I know how to manage money.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
all
so
about
impressive.
it's all about how to manage your money, not how much you make. So
Mm.
yeah,
What's like
and
some like basic tips on money management?
so you know how much you make, right, every month.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And if you in some people varies, but most of us
Yeah.
know how much we make. So 1/3 of your income should be
Uh-huh.
your rent. If
Uh-huh.
your rent is higher than 1/3 of your income, you are living in a too no neighbor is too nice for you. You need to move ghetto. Move to ghetto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 1/3 should be your car. It's
Mm.
including your car payment and car insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and another 1/3 is that also you can break it down. Food, or 10% should be like recreation for fun.
Mm.
Or yeah, 10% should be also, if you like, you can spend money on like learning things. That's
Mm.
more also important for your, yeah.
Self-growth.
So yeah,
Mm.
so
So
it's a
the
big.
10% out of that 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, the total, I forgot. Total or 1/3, but the total of 10% also
Mm.
need to go to your retirement.
Mm. Savings.
That Yeah, savings. That's first.
Mm.
No, what else? Like, even though you can't pay off your debt.
Mm-hmm.
Debt can wait. You
Mm.
first put
Mm.
10% to your retirement account before you
Mm-hmm.
take out anything else.
Mm.
So that's for you, for yourself.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can retire someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So many Americans don't have savings accounts.
No. I'm like, please.
Isn't that crazy? It's Americans are a mess. A mess. They don't have medical, they don't have savings accounts. They they pay more than a third for their rent.
Yeah, and eat cereal and live in a nice apartment, nice driving nice car and eating like cereal. Like, what are you doing?
See, like this is like the thing. Like all Asian people, when they
Mhm.
see people eating cereal or
Mhm.
bread,
Mhm.
they feel bad for them. It's like, "Oh, you're poor." You know? Like I wrote this like whole joke about that, like how like in Korea, like Koreans ate noodles when they were
Mhm.
broke. You know what I mean? It's like a sign of poverty. It's like, oh, like did your father lose his job? You're eating bread. Oh, is maybe business is not good. You know? But like in America and like in Europe, like bread and like wheat flour is like a
Yeah.
basic staple, you know? But for
Mhm.
us, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're
Wait,
eating
what's
a
wrong?
potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong?
What's
What's
wrong?
wrong? Economy's not so good.
That's okay.
You're eating potatoes? Oh, things must be no good, you know? So funny
Mhm.
though. Yeah.
Mhm.
I I'm trying to lose weight right now. That's my big thing.
Mhm.
Like cuz I'm turning 34 this month. We're
Mhm.
recording in February right now, so I'm
Mhm.
turning 34 this month and I don't know why. I know that like 34 isn't old
Mhm.
necessarily,
I know
but
you're Asian. You look younger than your age, so.
yes, I can
Mhm.
pass as mid 20s if I want. But I just like I never felt insecure about my age until I realized, oh, I'm turning 34. That's
Mm.
like firm mid mid-30s. I'm mid-30s now.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like, this insecurity started to develop. And I'm just like, I want to feel confident, you know, because like I don't want to feel insecure about myself at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I put on a bunch of pandemic weight, you know. I've been telling myself forever that I want to like make more money and I want to lose weight. Like I've been writing that in my fucking journal for like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, over 10 years now. And it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
when are you going to make it happen? Right? So I just decided like, okay, like let me take this seriously. So I put a goal. So since I'm turning 34, I want to lose 34 pounds. So like that's the
Mm-hmm.
goal that I set. And like when I said this, like one of my friends, she was like, "Oh, that sounds a little bit unhealthy." And my other friend who lives in Hollywood was like, "Yeah, that sounds okay." You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you should lose 34 pounds. Like she, right? It's like the difference.
I think it's a good because whatever the intuition tells you, that's
Mm.
the right number. So if your
Mm.
intuition told you that, then yeah,
Yes, my intuition and show business.
show me
Yes.
yeah. Whatever to push you to
Yes.
do.
Yes. Whatever will be my
Hmm.
motivation.
Yeah.
No, like
Hmm.
I so admire you for so many reasons. Like, you know, you're such a hustler. Like you're always working so hard and like um I don't know, like you have like kind of like a free spirit too. Like this like kind of fun kind of like youthful spirit in you, you know? Um yeah, and it's like really nice to see. Like I always like watching you on stage. It's like always like super entertaining. You know, I'm always like trying to figure I'm like I don't know what's like fully going on, but this is amazing. You know, like
Thank
there's like
you.
that part going on too. And like, you know, the other thing that I love is like, you know, I mean, you've had your share of like, you know, your ex-husband and like your share of boyfriends in life and whatnot.
Mhm.
But like the fact that like, you know, you still believe in love, you know, and like,
That's, that's the thing. I wasn't not like it's so weird because I was into all the self improvement and self growth, right?
right,
And I was learning few things, and it said in your life you have to balance. You know,
mm,
there's four things:
yeah,
your wealth, your career,
mm-hmm,
health, and mental health.
mm,
So if like if your wealth is not enough, and you know you can't do things, you can't have fun, and you'll be miserable, right? And if
yeah,
you're if you're not healthy, even though how much money you have, physical health is bad, then no matter how much money you have, you can't enjoy,
yeah,
right? And if you're not have a if you don't have a good mental state,
mm-hmm,
then you never feel happy,
mm,
no matter how much money you have, or
mm,
your health is great. But if
mm,
your up here is not healthy, you
mm-hmm,
never feel happy.
right,
And and if you what else? And then, yeah, what is money, right? Money, physical health, mental
mental
health,
health.
and what is it?
I don't know. You said it like just a minute ago.
I
I don't,
know.
yeah, I don't know
Mental
either.
health and money, physical health, mental health, and
Our listeners know
yeah.
by now.
This man was like,
Like you just said it.
you just said it. You just said it. But
So
anyway,
what do these things have to do with finding love?
so a relationship. The last one is relationship.
I
Is if
see.
you are not mentally healthy, you can't have great relationship with anyone.
Ah.
So everything, connect. And also I was a lot of studying and being happy myself. Because if
Right.
I'm not happy being alone, and if I'm not happy, if I
Uh-huh.
can sustain myself,
Uh-huh.
then like if I date someone
Yeah.
and I can't, if something happens, relationship will, you know, because it's not, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to, I mean, if I want someone to make me happy,
Mm-hmm.
and which means that I want my boyfriend to make me happy. So I am not,
Right.
yeah. And then if I'm want something from someone, and then I will attract someone like me. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So like
Mm-hmm.
two needy people together,
It's a disaster.
disaster, because of drama, right? Create drama.
Right.
So two people who sustain their own happiness
Yeah.
can, have better relationship. Because
Mm.
yeah, so if something happens, yeah, sure, help each other and support each other.
Mm-hmm.
But in daily life, basically, if you can't, uh, you know being happy, you can't be happy yourself, then you can't, if you shouldn't have a relationship. You can have a relationship, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't have a relationship until
Yeah.
you're okay yourself. So that, and then I was telling myself, you know what, if I'm single rest of my life, I'm fine. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I told myself, and I just take care of myself. Then I met him,
Yeah.
and
That's
he
when love
was,
arrives.
yeah, and then that's when he found me too. So
Ah, that's so
yeah,
nice. He was sort of on the
so
same path.
same path, and then we
Mm.
clicked because we were studying kind of same thing. I've been
Mm-hmm.
studying spirituality, and he was doing that too. And
Mm.
he's so good at, he's more logical. I'm a more emotional person. He can
Mm.
logically put himself up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have to breathe to make
Sure.
myself yeah, be okay.
I
But
understand that. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good fit though, you know?
yeah,
You balance each
yeah,
other out like yin and yang. Yeah.
yeah.
I think a lot of women do kind of navigate emotionally, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
for for men it's like a state of mind, right? It's like, "Oh, it's a state of mind. If I think this, then I will feel that way too." You know? But like
Mm-hmm.
for me it's the other way around. It's like the way I feel dictates how I think. And
Me too. Me too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So the
yeah.
breathing thing, I understand that too. Like for instance, like when the interview with that guy fell through, when he sent me that email, like I felt
Mm-hmm.
intense rage, and I was just like sitting here going like,
What the fuck?
just like I was like, Grace, this is the challenge that the universe is giving you for today. Okay, you have to get through it.
Yeah.
You know, like because I don't want to like lash out.
Mm-hmm.
But I did write back. I did write back, and I said like. I did send you this email on December 23rd, and we confirmed at December 24th, and this
Mm-hmm.
information was there. So in the future, if you can't make it to something, please let me know in advance because
Yeah.
today I waited 20 minutes, which it's probably a little bit, it's got a little bit of a sharp edge, but
No,
at
sounds
least
nice to me. Still,
yeah,
still very
at least I
nice.
wasn't like, you fucking asshole,
Yeah,
like, how
you
dare you
didn't.
waste my time? Like, I didn't go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I run into that a lot with academics. Like,
yeah,
ugh,
and especially academics, you have to, tell them the facts. You
mm,
can, and as men and academic people, you can tell them how you felt. As long as you say that hurt me, or this is, it
mm.
hurt my feeling, then they're tuned out. They have to, like, they're like a dog. They right then you have to, hey, this is what you did. No, you know, dogs and men.
No, I just noticed a pattern. Like, Like for this, I interviewed one academic, another one, she used to be an academic. Um, but like there are a couple others that I asked, and they're just like so difficult because they're control freaks. You know,
Mm-hmm.
academics are control freaks. They're insecure
Mm-hmm.
and they don't like surprises. You know, that's why like when they
Mm.
give presentations, they read the paper. You know, and like fuck it, nobody's
Oh.
listening, right? Because nobody's
Uh-huh.
listening when anybody's reading. But that's the trouble I had. Like, whereas comedians, they understand that, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever is there is there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the practice of presence, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're in the moment. You just do it and it's fine. It's nothing to be
Yeah.
afraid of this
Yeah.
moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But academics are tricky. Like, you have to talk them through so much, and then in the
Mm-hmm.
end, they're still like, no. Even after they agree, after all the bullshit that they put me through, and then it's like, no. It's like, it's like, all right, just tell me that you're scared then. Just tell me that you're afraid.
Yeah. Oh, that must be it. He was
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah, it's
He,
fear. Well, I
yeah.
think I think he forgot. I think he fucking forgot that we were
Mm.
supposed to meet today, you know? And just say that you
Mm.
forgot. Be like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot." But like academics are also very prideful, you know? They're very
Yes.
proud
Yeah.
people. Mm.
I know some this girl. She went to really good school, and she was
Mm.
bragging about, oh, I went through put myself
Mm.
through school, and I got
Mm.
all scholarship,
Mm.
and I had a really good education.
Yeah.
But she is getting she was making like super. She was she was not making money at all. She's
Uh-huh.
her lifestyle is like trying to make minimum so she can get the benefits, from the government
Oh.
support, or
Uh-huh.
and any support she can get from government.
Okay.
And like she puts down on people who are not academically smart, you know.
Really?
So yeah,
Huh.
and but she thinks she's better than anybody because she is so smart, and she speaks two languages, and it's just
Two
and
languages.
yeah, and she loves
Ooh,
other
two languages.
yeah,
Uh,
so it's just it was amazing. Someone like someone who is book smart
yeah.
and smart but not street smart, so
Mm.
they make a lot of bad mistakes in their lives,
Yeah.
and then, but they can admit that there were certain area they were not good at, and then
Yes.
they were the ego,
Yes.
and but everything they talk down to other
Yeah.
people, and then just criticizing others. Like I was like, oof, I had to
Yeah.
move out.
A hundred
Yeah, I had
percent.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, so this was your roommate? You had
my
to
ex
move out.
roommate.
Because that's what that is. It's like, you know,
Mhm.
whenever you point a finger outwards,
Mhm.
there's like three fingers pointing back at you, you know? It's like anything you project, it's outwards, it's actually about you, you know?
Yeah.
And anytime you put down
Yeah.
anybody, it's like that's your insecurity that
Mhm.
you're disclaiming, that you're showing.
Yeah.
And you know, it's
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
tricky.
felt tricky, and she was constantly, she vents, and she constantly like judging others, and
Mm,
but she was so judgmental herself too.
yeah, of course.
So yeah, that was very unhappy. Make her
Yeah.
unhappy, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being judgmental of
Mm-hmm.
others is because you are very judgmental of yourself. Yeah,
Yourself. Mm-hmm.
that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like I really don't like. I don't know. I like there were some girls that like it was like a friend of a friend, I guess, and she
Mm-hmm.
would always like because she traveled a lot for work, and so she would
Mm-hmm.
be at the airport oftentimes, and what she would do is like she would photograph like fat people at the
Mm-hmm.
airport and then
Mm-hmm.
post it on Facebook and say America's so gross, you know? And I was just
Wow.
like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is your problem? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm pretty sure like that bitch had like an eating disorder. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that's your problem, man. Like
Yeah.
that's your fucking problem. They don't care that you're doing this. Also, what you're doing is disgusting. They're not
Yeah.
disgusting. What you're doing
Yeah,
is
what she's
disgusting.
doing is disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated seeing those posts. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I unfriended her or something. I was just like, why am I following like such a negative person, you know? Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all of that is like work, I guess, self-work, right? You have to
Yeah.
do the work in order to get to those realizations. And like even if you have those realizations, it doesn't mean that you're going to stop, you know, old
Mm-hmm.
habits don't die easily.
Yeah.
It takes time, and it's a constant moment by moment reminder, right, of who you
Yeah.
are, where you fit
Yep.
into the place in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's also helped to me before I started dating. Um, Someone said, I think it's a what's that? Opera's friend. The
Gail?
Indian guy,
Oh, Indian
Deepak.
guy. Oh, Deepak
Deepak.
Chopra. Hmm.
Chopra. Yeah, he said like when you who don't be look for the person you want to date. Like I want guy to be tall or I
Mm.
don't know, maybe a nice guy or rich and all that stuff. Instead of write it down all the things and instead of looking for the person, be that person.
Yes. Be that
Yeah.
person yourself.
So yeah.
Hmm.
That was great
Yeah,
advice.
it is
Yeah.
great because if you have this fantasy list, then that
Mm-hmm.
you know you're that's not love, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Those are demands. Those are
Mm-hmm.
expectations in another
Yeah.
person.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah, that's tricky for me too. Like for me, like I haven't dated anybody in like 2 years because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was kind of on the path that you were on like before, like just self-improvement kind of thing, developing greater sense of self-worth
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to value myself and blah blah blah. And like I
Mm-hmm.
told my friend that I was doing this for 2 years and he's like, "Yeah, I think that's enough." Like
you,
2 years is long enough.
yeah, you learned enough.
It's like it's time to go back out. And I was like, "Well, do you know anybody? Like any nice people?" He's like, "No, all the guys I know are dicks." I was like, "All right, see, you see my problem here." Yeah. Yeah. Like that's sort of like when I was journaling the last couple of weeks, that was sort of coming up a lot. I was like, "Oh, I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
ready now to meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody and like try and work at a relationship because, you
Yeah.
know, it's very rewarding being in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. It's very meaningful and rewarding and it's nice
Yes.
to have companionship and there's a lot of healing there too. And
Yeah.
intimacy is also, I think, a necessity in life,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like just recently, like I went for a hike. You know Kristen Lundberg, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we went on a hike and then we went to Home State. If you like Tex-Mex is like an amazing place. We went to Home State to get tacos and
Mm-hmm.
then we just went next door to just like get a cup of coffee. And like, you know, we were outside like masked up whatever. And like just that day of just little very minor interaction, like I felt so like, you know, like energized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I
Yeah.
came home, like I felt good and like I was just like listening to good music and like I was like painting, I did a little writing, like I was like active. I felt
Mm-hmm.
inspired just by that very mild, like just like an hour or two of human interaction. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
so important.
Sometimes that's all you take, to, yeah. But human interaction is so important. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully all
But
this will end soon, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you some flashcard questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, is the show that I'm going to talk about in this episode is called Itaewon Class. It's on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you flashcard questions, just like scenarios from the show and like what you would do if you were in
Okay.
that situation,
Okay.
okay? So like let's say you're a
Mm-hmm.
senior in high school, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you just transferred from a different school. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
whole new school that you're at. And you're a boy. You're like a 17-year-old, 18-year-old boy, okay? You see a classmate
Mm-hmm.
getting bullied by another boy.
Mhm.
And then somebody says, the bullying boy, that boy is your father's boss's son. Okay?
Mhm.
So your
Mhm.
dad works for this man. That
Mhm.
man's son is bullying this classmate. All right?
Mhm.
And you tell the bully, you're like, stop it.
Mhm.
And the kid doesn't listen to you. So
Mhm.
you beat the shit out of him. Okay?
Mhm.
And then your boss, the boss, your father's boss, comes to your school and tells you to
Mhm.
get on your knees
Mhm.
and ask for his son's forgiveness. What do you do?
Mm. Okay, if I live in Japan,
Mm,
then if that's happened to my my father's boss's son
mm,
did that, then I will apologize for my dad. I
mm,
will do it for my dad.
mm-hmm,
But I think if I was living in America,
mm.
fuck you, I was,
Okay.
different culture. You can't do that in Japan. It's like then my father get fired, and then you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if I were before I beat him up,
Uh-huh.
I will use different tactic though. I might not beat him up.
Mm,
I will just throw some jokes and or make him laugh or trying to get his attention. Hey, dude,
mm,
it's a pretty girl right there, and let's go check it out. I was trying to save the kid from being bullied.
through
I will
distraction.
distraction. I'll be the
Uh,
distraction, or something like that. Because it's Asia, it's in Japan, it's pretty tricky.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
bullying is
Mm-hmm.
more passive aggressive too.
Mm.
So I would do use different tactic to save that kid
Okay.
instead of beat him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So try to avoid violence from the get-go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, good. So let's say the boss's son, the bullying
Mhm.
boy, okay? He was driving one night and
Mhm.
he hit your dad with his
Mhm.
car and
Mhm.
your dad died.
Mhm.
The boss
Mhm.
hires another man to
Mhm.
take the blame instead.
Mhm.
And then his son gets off scot-free. No, nothing.
Mhm.
What do you do?
So at this point, I lost my father,
Mm.
so I have nothing to lose. So I will go all the way. I will not stop until I destroy the boss's son. I will go any, and then if I have to hire someone to kill him, yeah, I will do that. I will do all the way. I will
Okay.
not stop until he
Mm.
get punished.
Mm.
If
Okay.
law
Punishment for the
doesn't
boy.
punish him,
Mm.
I will do something about it.
Wow, you're scary, Eye.
Yeah, I am.
Never kill Ai's dad. She'll come
No,
and destroy her life.
no, don't kill my dad, and you end up dead too.
Okay, good. All right. So, okay. So now many years have passed. Like
Mhm.
many, many years. Like 10 years have passed, all right? You are
Mhm.
now the owner of your own gastropub in
Mhm. That
this
sounds great. Yeah. Yep.
in this town called
Mhm.
Itaewon in Seoul,
Mhm.
okay? The
Mhm.
girl you had a crush on since high school
Mhm.
now works at that
Mhm.
boss's company. All right?
Mhm.
You're a competitor, all right?
Mhm.
You still have feelings for the girl,
Mhm.
but it's complicated because she
Yeah.
works for your enemy, all
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And she tells you not to like her.
Mhm.
She's like, don't like me, even though it's very obvious that you like her,
Mhm.
right? At the
Mhm.
same time, she's like, don't date anybody because she doesn't want to be your girlfriend, but she's
Mhm.
also like, she doesn't want you to date anybody. What do you do?
Mm. Selfish, bitch. that turned me off that right there too. But I think
Yeah.
if if she said don't love me, don't like me, and at
Yeah.
that point I would say okay, I'll let her go.
Yeah. Just pack up your feelings. Be like, move on.
Yeah, but yeah, sure. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get hurt too, but
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And eventually I will move on. And also I'm not too crazy about like those love in thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I like being in a relationship. I like love and
Mm.
I love someone,
Mm.
but it's just you know, people come and go. If she doesn't want me, sure, go. I never asked someone to like stay for me or like me. I don't beg someone to stay for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if someone has to go, okay, go. And then so don't expect me to wait for you, you know.
Right. Right. Stop
Yeah,
giving mixed signals. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
don't,
good.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So the girl you have a crush on, right? The
Mhm,
one that's being selfish.
mhm,
She's drunk one night. She gets very drunk, of
mhm,
course. You know, it's Korea. They drink a
mhm,
lot, right?
mhm,
And she shows up at your restaurant and she's like talking to you, right? And then she
mhm,
starts to make a move towards your
mhm,
face as if to kiss you,
mhm,
okay? And
mhm,
she's like 1 centimeter away from your face when
mhm,
suddenly
mhm.
your female employee covers her mouth and pushes her face away from yours.
Mhm.
What do you do?
Oh, so someone my face and took away,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I was like, what are you doing? I might get laid. What do you? What are you doing? Don't interrupt me. I might get laid.
Okay. So you would get mad.
Yeah,
She's cock blocking.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Cock blocking. Don't cock block me. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. All
Yeah.
right. That's the end of the flashcard series. Pretty good.
Okay.
It was
I like that. Yeah.
yeah. All the
Yeah.
comics like this part. They have so much fun with it.
Yeah.
It was really lovely talking to you. Thank you for
Yeah.
making the time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. That was fun.
Yeah. So next week we're going to talk about one of my favorite shows of all time called Beautiful Days. It came out I think in the year 2000 or 2001, but it is so good. But it is also so bad, and I'll explain why next week. But you know what, you guys? I got a fan mail, my first podcast fan letter, so I'll share it with you. Here it goes. Let me read it to you. As this is a rough week, month, year for the Asian community, I'm stepping outside my bubble to tell you that I love your podcast. I can't solve racism. I can't even convince my dad that racism exists, even with the textbooks full of data I read from my bachelor's and master's in social work. It's exhausting. So, anyway, I've been doing my best and failing, but I can encourage you and tell you that I hear you and I love your podcast. I love your film insights. I know nothing about film and I have never been very interested in it, but you add cultural, historical, and linguistic insights to a discussion about stories I love. I got into K dramas maybe 3 years ago, and although I've now gotten the rest of my family and some of my friends into K dramas as well, none of them really have the discussions about K drama that I crave, which is to pick apart their storytelling. I'm an aspiring author and spend a lot of time thinking about stories. One of the things I love about K dramas is that there are things to learn about developing characters and plot arcs from every drama. I especially love that there is a variety of dramas that I can compare and contrast how different arcs are put together in the story so I can understand what works and what doesn't. I've listened to quite a few K drama podcasts, and I like yours best because of your analysis. You know about the writers and directors and actors and the cultural and historical context of the stories, and I love hearing about it. You also help me understand and better appreciate the K dramas. I watched My Lovely Samsun last year and hated it, not realizing that all the things that I hated, the fat shaming, the heavy handed patriarchy, were done purposefully and to make a point. I kind of want to watch it again now that I know this. So this comes to me from Alicia. Thank you, Alicia. That was very kind of you to share. Thank you for reaching out. And yeah, if you have friends and family members who watch Korean dramas, turn them onto my podcast. What else can I do but plug myself? But yeah, folks, if you have questions for me or if you just want to share something that's on your mind, just send me an email to kdramaschool@gmail.com. I will take a look at them. I will read them. I will respond appropriately. I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can to help us all feel connected during this weird time. Well, that's all for today. And thank you for listening. I will see you guys all next week.